it's never too late to find your voice. I am 47 now. This rune is my rune of the year. November is here, and the year is coming to its end. It's time to close the circle, tying up loose ends. I am in my 40s now, and my loose end was finding my voice in society and in the world, with language, art, with my whole being. I always listen to my inner voice. It's my nature. I am an introvert. I live in my soul space, in my unconscious, in my dreams. For a long time, I could not express my rich inner life, which is nonverbal, filled with concepts, pictures, atmosphere, the mystic. Parts of me stayed hidden. I had to face my wound of not being fully seen. I had to get in contact with my anger and with my creative power. I had to go through a process of individuation and self-development, and I explored my spiritual roots, the old European traditions. In my 40s, I started to show up. I write, I make videos, I create sacred spaces. I lead my own spiritual retreats. And with my partner, I developed a seminar house here in Austria. For this year, I have a guiding rune. Runes are old symbols. My rune stands for the inner fire, my passion and my creativity. It helps me to express myself and find my voice.
A Southern Baptist, a Southern United, put granny in the ground. Preacher gonna raise his hands up. The church gonna burn the man outside.
Welcome. Today I will talk about finding my voice in my 40s as an introvert. I don't mean my inner voice, because with my inner voice I always had a good contact. My first impulse is always to look inside, sometimes even closing my eyes when I talk to people or when I talk now. So this is what it means being an introvert. I will talk about this later. With finding my voice, I mean my voice in society, expressing myself in a consistent way, finding a channel, finding media, finding the right language, finding a form of art to express my rich inner world and to make it visible for other people, to participate in culture. It can show in this YouTube channel. I can make videos and talk about spirituality, for example. Talking about things that I gained experience over the last 47 years. Yeah, and this is another thing. I found my voice in my 40s and not when I was younger. And I will talk about the reasons later. Why is it important to find your voice? I mean, my grandmother, for example, she never found her voice. She did her work, she had her family, and I really didn't see her finding her voice, expressing herself in some ways in society. Many people live this way without finding their voice. And also some people tell me, oh, so you're a spiritual person, why isn't it enough just to live your spirituality for yourself and to sink into your inner world and just to use it for yourself? Why do you need to talk about it? Why do you need to find a form of art to express yourself? So why do I do it? For me, this is an inner necessity. I have the feeling that when I don't express my rich inner world, my experiences, my concepts, my visions, I miss my purpose of life. It gives me meaning to express myself. It's deeply fulfilling, and my soul can breathe. And it's not only for myself, it's also, I might make the world a more beautiful place, develop myself, and to see a development during the years, an organic development. So this is very important for me, that what I do feels natural, authentic, and organic. I don't want to push myself into a role that I'm not. I don't want to express myself in a way that's not reflecting my inner life. So I want to bring out the light of my soul, my inner truth. This is what individuation means. Carl Jung, he wrote about individuation a lot, and he meant developing your true self without all those inauthentic layers, things society says, but maybe it's not you and it doesn't reflect your true being. And yeah, of course, some people say there is no true self, everything is constructed, everything is moving, everything is in the flow. Of course, it's moving and in the flow. But I have this inner knowing, it's a deep inner knowing, that there is a self, my individual self, which is different than everybody else and which has its own life and its own purpose and its own gifts and its own attitudes, and it's like the color of your soul. You also have this. Everybody has that. So why is this stone with this sign next to me today in this video? If you saw other videos that I made, you maybe realized that I always have a symbol. Every video has a symbol. So in other videos I had the sword, for example, as a symbol. I had the ocean as a symbol. I had the tree as a symbol. I had an old big stone as a symbol. I had the light, the lantern as a symbol. And for this video, my symbol is a rune, and it's called the rune Kenas. This rune is my rune of the year. During my winter solstice retreat, which I organized and led, a rune came to me, and the rune Kenas stands for the inner light and also for your passion, for the inner fire and for your creativity. And it helps me to express myself. This year I started with so many important things to put my voice out into the world. I started with this YouTube channel, for example. I finished writing a book. Yeah, I bought my drone and started filming. It was maybe the most creative year of my life so far. Yeah, you can believe in runes or not. It's old symbols in the old European pagan tradition. My way to use runes or tarot cards is I just try it out. I'm not a person who says, oh, you have to believe and this means this, and I don't create a dogma around it. I just use it and I see how it goes in resonance with my inner life. And the runes and the tarot cards, they create a big resonance inside me, and therefore I like to use them. So that's the rune for this video, rune Kenas. And it's the perfect rune for expressing yourself, for being creative. Now I want to talk about the things which prevented me from finding my voice, or which were the reasons why it took me so long. I have 5 reasons. Reason number 1, I'm an introvert. What does introversion mean? It doesn't mean necessarily to be shy. I like to dance in front of people, for example. Yeah, I love to express myself in those ways, and I'm not shy to do that. What introversion really means is your first impulse is looking inside. You go around, walk around, and the first thing you always do is looking inside and being in your inner world. And the second thing, or the thing that you don't do so much, is looking outside to other people, seeing what they are doing, looking what's going on around you, like physically, but also conceptually. This is introversion. It means you need much time to be in contact with your inner life. And that's constantly. It's not only while you're sleeping. It's not only, while I'm meditating. It's when I'm in a meeting with other people. I constantly look inside also. And I have to force myself sometimes to look people in the eye. I have to force myself to look outside more, because I know it's not good for the communication. So, and when you look at me while I'm talking, You maybe realize that I often close my eyes and I often look somewhere else. And sometimes, or more and more often, I look into the camera. I have to force myself to look into the camera. Yeah, my natural way of talking would be this. Okay, oh yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, so this is my natural way of talking, which I do automatically. And when you have this deep contact with your inner world, it's more difficult for you to express yourself in the outside world. It's natural, it's logical. It's more difficult to be good in it and to use the ways naturally which other people use to express themselves. So the typical politician type of person, for example, yeah, or very extroverted media person who craft their image in a company or in their profession, yeah. Those people, they are usually extroverts, and they are more used to look outside, to go in contact with everything which is outside of them. And then it's also easier for them to express themselves because they are already there. They are already in their outside world with their attention. I'm in my inside world with my attention, and it's a path I have to take to go outside. I had to learn things which more extroverted people do naturally. But on the other hand, the advantage that I have as an introvert and being so much in my inner world is I always have interesting things to say. People who are very extroverted, they circle around common concepts a lot. I have always new and interesting things which come from within. Topics for my next YouTube video. I have 100 topics, yeah, because they live inside me. The second thing which made it difficult for me to find my voice was the character of my inner world. Some introverts, other than me, they have this very clear-cut, logical inner world. They think in logic, they think in language, in categories, and in clear-cut words. Those introverted people, it's also easier for them to find a precise way to express themselves. My inner world is nonverbal, dreamy. It's atmosphere, it's concepts, but not very clear-cut verbal concepts. It's a more dreamy conceptual world that I live in. It's intuitive. I have to find a translation. I have to find words, the right language, or art, or bodily expression, or a lifestyle, something like this, to express myself. And there is always a gap between my inner world, my inner life, the richness, the quality, the qualia of my inner life, and what I can bring outside. There is always a gap. Even now that I've found my voice in a way, there's so much more inside me still which I cannot express and for which I haven't found the right method, the right media, the right art, the right expression. And this brings me to the third point, why it was difficult for me to find my voice in society. It's because I'm an Enneagram type 9. I talked about the Enneagram and my Enneagram type in another video, that I'm a body type, an intuitive type, and introverted. Enneagram type 9, it's about seeking this inner peace and drifting into your inner worlds very easily, forgetting yourself, forgetting the outside world, not having this clear-cut focus on what you want to do, what you want to achieve in the world. It's like you're always floating with your inner experiences, with your inner concepts, and you forget identifying yourself as the person you are. So I often forget that I'm Claudia. It's like, that's my name, or that's me. Yeah, it's you're forgetting yourself. You're drifting away with your day-to-day things in your dreams, but also thinking about the next coffee, thinking about what my partner wants to do. It's this forgetting yourself. My foot started to fall asleep, so I have to sit in another way. If you forget yourself and forget identifying yourself with your image, with your personality, with your role in life, then it's much more difficult to find a precise voice and role. One day I'm like this, one day I'm like that. It's like being the water. And the good thing with being Enneagram type 9 is this rich inner world where you can find your creativity and also this inner knowing. And once you found your voice as an Enneagram type 9, then your inner well, the well in your fire, it starts to flow like this rich river. Creativity just flows out of me. I just have to pick it up. I just have to dive in, take it out. Once I found a way, a certain method, an art, a language, to put it into society, into culture. And this brings me to point 4. It's much easier for me nowadays to be creative because of the internet, because of iPhone, YouTube channels. 20, 30 years ago, when you wanted to be a photographer or when you wanted to make movies, you needed a bunch of people to help you. You needed very refined technical skills, a marketing network of people supporting you. And as an introvert, this is not so easy for me to make these connections with other people. And also, I'm not the technical freak kind of person. The most complicated thing that I learn now is filming with my drone. And for this I take some time, but it's also easy because I can look it up on YouTube tutorials. I don't have to go to some groups, some people who teach me that. I can learn it by myself, and this is also important for me as an introvert. I want to do many things by myself. I don't want to rely too much on other people and to communicate with them all the time. It's a flow process I'm in. I like to do many things by myself. I produce my movies by myself, all by myself. I cut them, I film them. Sometimes I have my partner who helps me film some scenes where I cannot use a tripod. But I cut it, I look for the music, I decide how it will look like, how it will be. These technological developments with the internet and with the iPhones and all those things, it's so much easier for me to be creative, to put my voice outside into the world. The fifth point why it was difficult for me to find my voice was, I mentioned it already, finding a network of people. I was often surrounded by people who did not see my full potential, or my inner world was just so different than what they lived. I had to hide parts of myself and I couldn't show my whole being, my whole personality. When I was in my 20s, I studied business administration, yeah. Expressing yourself, making art was not viewed as something valuable. And the people I knew who made art, it was such a different type of art that such different types of subcultures I couldn't connect with. People making political statements with their art, or people wanting to express something disturbing. Yeah, I didn't like the aesthetics, and I just couldn't connect with the subcultures where I could have learned making art or expressing myself. And also in the spiritual scene, in most of those scenes, I couldn't find myself. I couldn't find myself in like Christian scenes, even though I still go to Catholic church sometimes. Aesthetically, I like the churches. I like some churches. Yeah, I attended yoga classes. I went to the anthroposophic circles and alternative groups. But all those groups, they had social codes, and I didn't find myself in most of those codes. I discovered old European pagan traditions. I can maybe find myself most. So so now you see my dress. This is how it looks like. I wanted to wear another dress for this video. I wanted to wear the burgundy dress that I wore when I filmed myself with the runes outside. But I realized that my face, it looked dead in this type of colors when I'm sitting here, and also the red of my bed behind me. Yeah, so those things I also like to take into account. In the end, what can I tell you in the end? Some words of empowerment. It's never too late to find your voice. I am 47 now. You can find your voice in your 50s, your 60s. I saw YouTubers in that age who just started their YouTube channel or just started out with their art. I also started with my spiritual groups, with my retreats around age 40. Creating sacred spaces, this is also a way. And finding your voice, this can be anything. It can be a business, it can be art, it can be writing a book, it can be talking about a subject, it can be creating events, and it can be also your own lifestyle. When I came into my 40s, it was this time that I started to dress authentically. When I was younger, I tried out many things, and some things, they were just not mine. They didn't match my body so well and also my style. And when I came in my 40s, I know myself. I know my face, I know my hair, I know my body, I know my style, I know what looks good on me, what doesn't look good on me. It's an experience and knowledge you acquire with the years, and it's not only clothing, it's so many other things. Also, my relationship, the relationship with my partner, it's much better because I also know myself. I can also show him my voice. When I was younger, I was in relationships and I hid parts of myself. I didn't show my partner my whole personality. It has to do something with this Enneagram type 9 thing. You adapt to other people. You think that some parts of yourself, they're not so important. Yeah. It's so fulfilling to find your voice and to integrate those parts into your personality and to become more and more yourself. And and the rune Kenas, she helps me, especially this year, with my self-actualizing. And the stone she's on, the stone, it can also symbolize your core. What's your core? What's your true self? And what do you want to put out into the world that's valuable, which can bring you fulfillment, but which can also be good for other people and for the world. So,
all the leaves, they are coming down by the river as sunlight falls on the ground. The day is light and the air is warm. I believe I can fall into your arms. We came upon the old spring road, walking up through the winding grassy knolls to see the view of the valley below. The river sheen in a sun-kissed heavenly glow. In Lafayette, Lafayette. So effortless were those days. High noon will soon fall away here in Lafayette, Lafayette. Now and then when I'm traveling, I'm reminded of soft rustling wings. If I ever step foot again, would you be all the same as when I left? Oh, Lafayette, Lafayette. So delicate, like when we had first met here in Lafayette.